We had no audio at all. Here's what you missed, and for future posterity, we can clip the show to this point. Harold's character fact was that as a boy, a storyteller came to town wearing a wizard's stars and moons robe. Harold got interested in adventuring and wanted that robe and still does to this day. Lemon likes to play a game called Pop Rocks, which is where you play jacks, but you have to shoot the rocks as you throw them up in the air, which makes it, I will say, quite a bit different from jacks. Bartholomew, while playing a game of Pop Rocks on the train, was fake prophesizing to his fellow figures, only to discover that one of them actually was a sort of cleric. He then tried to make a distraction by firing off a blunderbuss shotgun, accidentally burned that scribe's records, made an enemy of the Lophyllum Empire, and was kicked off the train. Something of a comedy of errors in the life of Bartholomew Silvertongue. Beige is a big reader who likes books that can fit in their pocket and has a personal favorite which is sort of the Wuthering Heights of this world, a book called The Daughter of the Dragon, a sad tale of romance in the aristocracy. And then finally, one time, Hilver, while growing up in Cradle, the plane to the left of our own, a convoy of his fellow guardians came back bringing flower bulbs. He planted them, they grew very quickly, and then began to adapt to the dying, or to be more specific, dead world that is around them, and began to wonder if it is really healthy for the Guardians to spend all their time in the realm of death. Bless you, Michael. And we're back on the horse. So sorry about the audio issue. That is everything that you missed. Thankfully, the only other thing you missed was me vamping about how we all needed to roll initiative, and now there's been a lot more of that. So, did anybody roll over a 20?
I rolled once.
Michael hadn't rolled.
We're up to a great start.
Anybody roll 20 to 15?
Got a nat 20?
Yeah, Stefan!
Or,
there we go.
Oh, well, I guess then initiative would have been +4, so technically over 20.
There you go. Hilver got that 24 with a nat on it. I'll put a little star next to that bad boy. Anybody get 15 to 10?
Oh, I got 16 also.
16.
I got 17.
Lemon got that
Wow.
16. We love it. Beach with a Z. Where is it? I'll never tell. Got a 17. Spencer, what'd you get?
17. I didn't.
Oh.
Didn't.
Little audio
cutting out.
glitch there.
Mine was below.
All right, Bartholomew, what'd you get then?
11.
Good old. Unfortunately, as a symptom of your very long name, you are Bart in my notes. I hope that's okay. Harold, what are you rocking with?
Got an 8.
Man, Spence.
Never kicking this one. Never gonna beat the initiative curse, I fear.
You know, it's a small trade for some of your grander fortunes. You gotta take the L's where you have them. So, in that case, I have good news. The skeleton did not get a 26. So, Hilver, you're up first. The skeleton turns and is sprinting towards the door. It has yet to take even a single step. You are like, I have a question. A short rest for Hilver. Are you fully prone, laying on the ground, relaxing? Are you just getting a sip of water? How do we find Hilver in this moment?
I think I was probably resting in the chair at the table.
So, Hilbert,
And
you're
was
sitting
sort
in
of
the chair,
stretched out
you look
there.
around, some of your other compatriots are sitting in the chairs around you, maybe one or two people actually put down their sleeping bag and are laying down looking up at the ceiling, those who probably took a few more hits, and then you just hear the click and turn, and you are still sitting in a chair looking, and you see the skeleton turn to run. You are about 30 feet from it, give or take. What do you do?
Alright, well I guess I would have, like from last stream, I would have used my action to switch the dispel magic lever. I guess that was the first one, right?
Wow,
And
now
then
there's an
notice-
honest player. I'll tell you what, if you don't have a point of inspiration, go ahead and take one. Yes, at the end of my notes, the last thing that you did was pull that short lever, and that dispelling magic filled the two rooms and had no effect on the skeleton. Seemingly, that lever does not disturb undeath in the way that it disturbed other things.
Yeah, I'll be like, alright guys, that thing looks like it's running, and I'm gonna like leap, kind of like do like a half cartwheel over the chair, and then like sort of take a long stride over his mop and bucket and sort of slide into him and hit him with an elbow.
Okay, so you're just going to dash up, swing over the space, and do that bonus action hit.
Yeah, and using Flurry of Billows to do 2 unarmed strikes, so The first one will be 15 to hit.
15 to hit. Okay. Sorry, I was pulling up my little skeleton stat block here, and my computer decided that was a great moment to just stop and think about it. Make sure that it knew what it wanted to do, which I always appreciate. All right. What was it to hit?
15
hits.
All right, so I will turn that one into instead of damage, I'll turn that into a grapple. So it's got to do 8.
Oh beans.
15 strength or dex save.
Okay. I will. Yeah, that's probably a 2024 thing. We're just going to keep rolling with it. That is a 12. That is a failure. You sprint across the space, grab this skeleton by its knees, flop down to the ground, and the whole thing, bang! It doesn't go bang, it goes like you just dropped a bunch of Legos as it falls into the stone of the floor.
All right, and I guess with my second flurry of blows, that'll be a more impact one. And
this is kind of horrifying. You all see the skeleton fall, its hands land outside of the room, and then drag as it is pulled back into the room by Hilver, who rears up to just punch it in the back of its skull.
Yeah, and that was a 27 to hit.
27 hit definitely hits.
All right, I will roll damage. That'll be 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
7 points of bludgeoning damage. Ow. Desperately, quite bad. You slam the skull down into the pavement below, and small spider cracks begin to form all around it. Never mind. It's vulnerable to bludgeoning damage, which turns that 7 into 14 points of damage. Its skull shatters across the ground into tiny pieces of bone that are sent spiraling in all directions, plinking off of the walls. As you stand back up, the rest of the bones shiver for a moment and then go inert, falling to the ground and becoming just another pile of bones on the floor. Hilver, you have instantly destroyed the skeleton.
All right, guys, should we take the remains and toss them in the other room quickly?
Yes.
As I start picking some of them up and tossing them into the hallway with the torches and stuff.
You
it works.
Run out, scoop up the bones, and come back inside. It is only a moment or so later, maybe a minute, as you pick everything up and you drop it back in that first room, that something a little bit strange happens. Anybody who's still in that room, did everybody shoot up onto their feet? Or is everybody still in that room with the levers, with the door that leads to the cistern?
I mean, I would have shot up on my feet. I was just really slow about it because I'm in plate, so it took me a minute to get up.
Yep.
Okay. From that third button on the table, the one that is all the way to the left that you guys said you absolutely would not press for fear of what it might be, something maybe horrifying begins to happen. The button starts to toggle up and down and make a loud clicking noise every time that it does, and you just hear tick 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 tick.
Guys, I swear I didn't touch anything.
Maybe 10 seconds goes by, and then it makes an identical tick 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 tick.
I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna do the same series of tick 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 ticks.
Okay.
We probably need a. Is there any sort of before you do that? Is there a sort of pattern that's kind of an all good one that you guys use? An all clear kind of thing.
How would you know?
I don't know.
Hilver,
I've never
you
worked
look
with
around,
these
and there are
skeletons
no 2,000-year-old dead skeletons to answer your question.
All right.
Is there a handbook?
Do you... Wait. Slow down. So you run over, and you tap the exact same message back.
I go up, and I'm about to press it as Hilver calls out.
Yeah.
Does anybody know an all clear?
As you're about to do the anti-magic one,
I pull the anti-magic thing. Does it tick at all?
A pulse of anti-magic goes out. And for a second, nothing happens at all. And then after about 6 seconds, tick, 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 tick. And now there is a new addition to the end. Tick, tick, tick. There's like a new 3 note at the end.
Maybe do the
We got-
fire one? Maybe that's what you're asking. Maybe do
I
the
think they're
fire
just
one.
asking if it's all clear here.
It's clear!
They sent up a skeleton to see if it's all clear. I don't know if the ticks off are all clear. I'm gonna tap it twice.
Wait. That skeleton though didn't go to tick, and there wasn't anyone here who was going to tick. So it might be a
the
trap.
skeleton would have ticked. We jumped it to death.
It was running the other way though.
Yeah, because it saw us. We couldn't get past us to
Tick,
get to
tick,
the button.
tick,
I'm
tick,
gonna
tick,
press
tick,
the
tick,
button.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. I'm gonna give you a very simple choice here. You got 2 options. Option 1. You can make an unimaginably high DC intelligence check to try to piece it out in this beautiful mind moment as your hand moves. I'll say the DC for that is a 20. You are trying to like sauce out what it might be. You have no idea. Or you can roll a luck check. And if you get an 18, a 19, or a 20 on a luck check, you will tap the correct response.
And lucky. No.
I mean, if it's me, I have to do a luck because I've got a -1 to intelligence. I can't succeed unless I get a natural 20 on the other one.
And can we give our inspiration to other players still, or was that
Think
taken
so.
away in the new mode? Okay, I'll give you the inspiration then too.
I'm
Let's
giving you
go.
bardic inspiration.
Double, let's go. Alright, so it was a 16 plus 3, 19. Luck roll, so I had nothing else. 19.
19? Unfortunately.
See, I was-
Oh, wait, no. 18, 19, 20. Oh, interesting. The addition of the luck roll of the Bardic Inspiration. I'll let it
Then it
ride.
would be 16.
That's not quite
Fair.
that's fine. That's fine. All right.
Fair.
So you just go like, all right, what is it? It has to be short. It's probably just affirmative or negative. And you just go tap, tap. And then you receive back tap, 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 tap. And then then a few seconds go by, and nothing else is tapped.
They're going to be expecting a skeleton to go back down those stairs in about, I don't know, 1 minute. So we need to figure out where we're going next. Because if he doesn't go back down, they're going to send more stuff up.
That's why I think
And we gotta-
burning the
we
skeleton in the other room might be a good way of covering our tracks.
Yeah. I'm worried that what set them off originally was the amount of lever poles. The anti-magic, the fire, all that might have set them off down there. So I agree, but you know what else would work? Bartholomew, go ahead and shove those in your bag. Put all the bones right in your bag of holding. We're good to go.
I'm
Bartholomew runs up and starts to grab the bones. Bartholomew, you can see they are all covered in these little fine etchings and markings and carvings all over the different bones as you toss them in. They've all been changed, edited, and carved into in some way, like some grim carving project. As you pile them in Sans' skull a couple hundred bones later, you just sort of shuffle them in the bag of holding and stick it back on your back. Who knows? Maybe the bones are even worth something. As you all have a moment to catch your breath, what do you all do? Harold has said, I think we're on the crunch now. What do you all do?
We going deeper? We going back up? What are we thinking?
I don't
What's-
think we have an opportunity to go back up. We can't even get out of here.
Well, there are other doorways the other way that we can go through. I just don't know where they head to.
There's the ledge that we could walk down to bring us, into the dungeon proper, or we could go back out through the hallway through the sewage system back out where we came, go back to camp, meet up with everybody. The option is deeper through that entryway, or back out the way we came.
Say that. Choice obvious then. We just go a little deeper.
I'm going to roll a die.
All right,
I need
we got one vote for deeper.
Stefan,
Yeah.
roll 2d4 for me.
All right. They were both 4s.
Nice.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Okay.
I'm sorry though.
So Lemon says, I vote votes for going deeper as Harold goes, that's one for going deeper. Who's next?
Yeah, deeper sounds better because like we at least know the way back, and if we go forward, maybe there'll be a more secluded spot too.
All right, that's 2 for deeper. One more takes it.
I don't want to go deeper, but I also need you all to stay alive. Let's go.
All right,
Okay.
deeper it is.
You all start to quickly gather up your things, and then off in the distance, you hear a sound. It is not, however, coming from far down below where you feared, where maybe that sort of darker stone cathedral at the bottom of this unfathomably large atrium stands. It instead comes from a little bit above you. If you were to move up to the glass, you would see that it is above and slightly to the right. You just hear a very loud, somewhat distant and muffled sounded, like a rumble that kind of like resonates, and you see a little bit of dust come down from the ceiling.
Reminds me of home.
All right, Lemon, I'm gonna dangle out the big opening over here. Can you hold my arm so I can look around, see if I can get a view?
So you're basically, so for the record, there is like a little walkway on the other side of the door. So not wanting to step onto the walkway, you are literally like leaning out of the door, Scooby-Doo style.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Lemon, you run up and Harold, Lemon grabs your hand and holds your weight as you peek out across the edge. And you, as you peek out, hear the sound again. Another woof and another rumble from the stone. And you see more coming down, and you see a couple of smaller stones, like plink, 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 come off of right across from you to the right and up about maybe 50 feet. You see that there are these many different passages and tunnels and what seem like they're buildings. One of them with a very large and kind of ornate front facade of like these detailed carvings. That seems to be the source of this rumbling that is starting to happen.
I think somebody's trying to break through that big door up there.
And as you say that, it occurs to you as you are looking at the door that it looks extremely familiar and that you have seen this door from the other side.
Maybe someone's trying to follow us.
And
Like
you
other
remember
group?
that the assembled mages of Rengastelon set off a trap, but it would seem that those that survived have not been deterred.
Well, probably the mages. Maybe they're doing something more mechanical rather than magical.
Maybe.
Whatever it is, though, maybe, just maybe, it'll be enough distraction for whatever might lie down there to go up there. This
Good
might be
point.
our only chance to get away. I don't want to be part of them. Or what's left.
And I
Another
don't-
rumble rips through the floor.
All right, I say let's take the chance and get out of here.
Yeah.
I'll lead ahead and just try to scout. And Bartholomew wants to start quickly sneaking his way down.
Another powerful rumble goes through the floor as Bartholomew is the first one. That door's still open. Bartholomew creeps out. Bartholomew, make a stealth check. Roll high.
Yeah.
I will give you advantage for reasons that are obvious.
Thank you. Oh, sweet Jesus! Yes, what's my plus on that? Yep. All right. 28.
28. You manage to make your way outside. As you take your first few steps, another rumble. This one more effective. Larger rocks falling off of that front entryway. You see a lot of things. So first of all, this pathway that extends out on either side. You see branches off to the left and right, and each of those split to go into different directions. Off to your right, you see one that goes down, swinging around the side and plunging seemingly just into a wall. Another that goes down to a larger, more important looking building, like it kind of swings down on a staircase. You see a third that goes up into another pretty nondescript hole in one of the walls. And then a fourth one that goes pretty much right up to that door. The other thing that you see is you begin to see out of the corner of your eye in all directions what you thought was a largely unattended atrium where you guys did some perception checks and rolled relatively high and didn't see much, you begin to see figures that you could not see before start to move that were sitting still before. Some of them familiar, those stalkers that you ran into before, but a little bit different, a little more lithe of shape with different weapons, not identical like those two were, and a few that seem leaner and stranger. Their limbs are longer. The blades that they carry on their backs are not daggers, but things more like short swords, and a few of them seem to even have bows. And they are beginning to reconnoiter and conjoin and move. And at that same time, one of the large statues that I think I may have described off stream, that is like up above, you saw these like large bronze statues carrying glaives. You see one of them swings the glaive around and drops down to a knee and starts looking towards the door. This place that seemed dormant a moment ago is immediately starting to come alive as you are wordlessly sneaking out onto the railing and starting to make your way around. You feel another tremor under your feet.
This
What
is
do you
just
do?
like that in the museum.
Bartholomew.
I haven't seen it in
whimpers
a
to
while. I don't think there was as much death, if I remember.
I don't think you watched
I
it.
don't think you really watched. You didn't watch the full series. You didn't watch 3.
No.
All right.
No.
So Bartholomew, what are you up to as you see all of this movement getting started, and you are our scout? What do you do?
He whimpers to himself. That's the first thing he's noticing. And Stuart, taking all of his might, his little courage he has, crawls back up to the party and shares what he has just found. And
Okay, awesome.
and
So
just
you have
found.
2
He
paths
knows
off to the right.
direction to go. As he cuts back. We need to go soft and quick. Come follow me down this path. We need to stay away. Things are moving.
Bartholomew, having a full panic attack, says things are.
He's having a panic attack. He can't.
Like, none of the
Unfortunately,
museum?
Bartholomew, you can't even. What? If night at the museum was full of terrors, yes, that would make even your good looks fade away.
Beach gets a nosebleed as they cross the 4th wall too much and take a little psychic damage. All right, what does the party do as this happens?
Yeah, I can't
Right.
really even describe it to you. I'm that scared. I will say
I'll-
that. It's moving.
I'll
Big.
take up the rear. Just we start shuffling down, make our way downwards. We want to get down to the ground level, avoid the pathway that you said leads up to that door, and we'll just beeline. So I'll take up the rear. Who's taking the front?
I'll be on the front too.
All right.
Okay, I need a group stealth check with advantage. Thank goodness for the advantage. As you all feel another rumble under your feet, things are about to pop off.
Wow. Nat 20 in that one.
Nat 20 and Nat 1,
Wow.
good for that. All right, so what's the total on that Nat 20, Nick?
30.
30, great. All right, who wants to give it next?
I got an
Uh,
18.
Harold got an 18,
You turned
I
20.
got a
20 from Lemon,
24 here.
24 from Hilver.
I got 21. My other one was
Oh
an 8.
my goodness!
Well, we went
But my other one
crazy
was
on
an
this
8, and then I
stuff.
forgot there was advantage. So
That
thank
makes
Yeah.
your
God.
average
Great,
as a
though.
group like a 25. That is incredible. You all step out and quickly lead yourselves off to the side in the shadow of the building above you, which thankfully isn't too hard. The entryway into the room you're leaving, you all discover with horror, is actually quite large and ornate and draws focus. It is a very good thing that there was this other thing pulling attention. You get the sense the room you're leaving is as important as that one is. As you make your way down over to the right, you immediately come to that first split. One leads to another important looking building. The other leads to a pretty nondescript looking hole in the wall. One of these things where it just seems to spiral off into some other part of this large assembly here. Which of those 2 paths do you head down? This is the last choice you get to make before things break bad.
We went from an ornate place, so maybe the nondescript place would be a good ending location for us.
Yeah,
We
I think
could
it'll be good to
hide
get
there while everything kind of happens for a second.
get a lay of the land, get it an ornate and a nondescript. That way we get a general sense what this place is like.
Okay, fantastic. You all start to make your way off to that other entrance. Just as you get about a third of the way, starting to swing downwards deeper into this place, a eighth and final exploding sound comes from up above. Both of those doors blast in, flipping over the tops of themselves, and putting a hand on the railing and ducking under is a construct you all have seen before, the one that lifted the nobleman up onto your boat. You see running behind him is a gnome, now dressed in extremely heavy-looking plate mail, accompanied, flanked on all sides by dragonborn and normal members of various other species of this world who begin to flood in through the front, and instantly everything erupts into chaos. Spells, magic, potions, and things start to flare around in different directions. You begin to watch arrows and crossbow bolts from the many, well, no crossbow bolts. You begin to see arrows and daggers from the assembled stalkers flying forward. As quickly, this being a fight between these powerful mages and these things, it starts to leave the bounds of reality as some people begin to quickly, you see hands go out and people start to lift off the ground and fly in different directions. At around the same time, you watch as up from not the park, but a large building across the side that is a little bit less ornate, more austere looking, with simple, blocky construction, but takes up a tremendous side of one of these walls. It must be many hundreds of feet tall, like a skyscraper inside of this strange building. You watch as the doors open, and just flying into the air out of it, you see what looks to be a woman, the same kind of desiccated, mummified, undead appearance as the others, but her mouth is not sealed, and she doesn't have the same look. Augmented not by carvings and leather, but by these like metal straps and windings that make their way out across her body. She begins to speak a language that you do not understand, and you start to watch lights coming into existence around her as she makes her way up to the center, and you all kind of pick up the pace and break into a little bit of a half jog, swinging around to the other side. The cavern is beginning to rumble around you as fireballs and lightning bolts streak out across the distance. Mages flip and tumble down, being dispelled. One of them you see flies up to that woman, and immediately, as he gets within maybe 60 feet, just starts to plummet, as if nothing was holding him up in the air. What do you all do? You are maybe 25 feet from that tunnel that just leads off somewhere deeper into this place. You still see these other bridges and landings below you. This place has turned into an absolute devastation of panic. Do you keep going? Does anybody take any alternative?
Yeah, Beach takes out some popcorn.
Guys, I feel really bad. I thought it was just gonna be the mages from Gastelon. I didn't think it was gonna be everybody else too. We had
Harold, roll a perception check for me really quick.
13 plus 3, 16.
With 16, the only person that does not have Remgastelon colors is the gnome. You get the sense that he may have been hired during the trip to travel with them, like they might have met, and he might have been sort of brought on. And you do see, for all that other people are falling and dying left and right, that construct is holding its own. You watch as it like reaches up, grabs a stalker off the wall, and just fastball special, just whips it across the space out into the chasm. That small gnome in very heavy plate going, "Go get him!" Just sort of accompanying it and yelling along. So, Beej and Bartholomew are continuing to move and urging everyone else to follow. Hilver, what do you do?
Yeah, this might be a good time to show some discretion and keep our heads low. That's a little bit too much attention up there, I think.
And all of this, of course, we need to hear each other, so we are speaking at full volume. All of this is said like this, like really quiet through clenched teeth. Lemon, where do you land?
Yeah, I think leaving is a good idea. Maybe leave a light on for anyone that needs a safe passage, though. And I go to just a pebble that's on the ground. I want to cast light on it.
Oh, so you like cast light on a pebble and leave it at the side of the tunnel you're going down in the hopes that you can like signal to somebody that there is allies this way?
Safe haven. Yeah.
Okay. Harold, you hear this hushed conversation as it comes around to you and you talk about feeling bad. You watch Lemon like blow light onto a rock and put it down from the side. Lemon, I'm going to have you roll a persuasion check.
Beach eats the pebble instantly.
Beach, make a stealth check as Harold. What are you doing?
I make Beej pull the trigger. Give that back. I take the stone. I put it back down. Harold, how far away is the gnome?
So it is maybe... Oh, gosh. You know, I just said it, and I don't remember what I said. I don't want to contradict myself. I'll say it's like 40, 50 feet above you. It's not ridiculously far because you're already near sort of the top of this atrium. So I'll say it's about 40 or 50 feet up. So on the angle, he's maybe 60 feet from you.
And if I'm vibe checking here, it doesn't look like it's going well. So Harold is gonna take out a dagger and throw it so it lands next to the gnome, like at his foot, something like that. So he sees where it comes from, and then try and gesture if he gets his attention. So I guess I'm making an attack roll of some sort or a sleight of hand.
Yeah, so here's what we're going to
like
do. I have the stat block for this character. I'm going to roll his perception check, and you're going to roll an attack roll, and you're going to set the... oh, no, wait. So how should I do this? I have to think. It should be easier the better you roll. So I can't do what I was about to do. Doesn't make any sense. Here's what I'll say. We're going to do a weird Thaco thing. We're going to do a weird to hit against CO thing. Roll your d20. You want to roll low, and then subtract your to hit score from it.
It was a 17 minus 4. 13.
So it's a DC 13 perception check for him to see it.
All right.
Somebody write that down. I got to remember to do that next time.
That's fun.
A natural 20. This dagger sticks into the side of the leg of the construct. And he turns, looks, and his eyes go wide as he sees you point. He reaches up, pulls the dagger, and starts to fade into the background of the fight very quietly. Anybody who's paying expert special attention will hear him like whisper a new set of commands to his construct and then like start to kind of like run off to the side. It'll take him a couple rounds to get to where you are, so you kind of just have to hope he lives.
Beej, do not pick up that stone. I still want any survivors to come this way.
Okay, and you all file down the side corridor.
She already ate it again.
Where you were feeling cobblestones beneath your feet and starting to get the sense of what this place looks like when it is fully developed, you are now faced with a very different architecture of the interior of this strange space. You are in smooth carved stone. A little tight, a little claustrophobic. The taller and larger among you need to sort of, not necessarily stoop, but just make yourself a little smaller to be comfortable. If you were to stand to your full height, every now and again you would just feel the ceiling like brush the top of your head, and that immediately makes you a little squeamish as you start to move down and in. Now quickly, the path begins to diverge into side pathways that spiral into different directions, like wormholes boring up and down and around you. Somebody is going to need to try to find some way to navigate this maze. Who is the most equipped or has an idea on how to do that?
Survival check, maybe?
Definitely a survival check. That's pretty vanilla tracking, looking for signs of where people have come and gone.
I'd say we probably want to take a path that has less, like, the least amount of like skeleton traffic and other things on it, and I guess looking for traffic on the walls, since a lot of these things climb the walls. So perhaps, I guess, whatever pathway looks the most unused.
Great. Hilver starts to look around. He's looking on the floor because you've seen this place has been in the workings for so long. It begs the question of why it was still sealed, but that handle had finger grooves worked into it. The floor had signs of having to be fixed and repaired, so you know these things do leave behind their sign. And so Hilver starts looking for bony footprints that have worn away the stone, and maybe handprints where things have crawled so long that some of the walls are smoother or have a different texture to them. Go ahead and make that survival check.
22.
22. You quickly and easily get the sense of where there is lots of movement and where there is much, much less. Eventually, you identify a few of these tunnels that see almost no traffic at all. Are you aiming for those ones?
I guess that's what you guys want to go, right? Low traffic tunnel for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See where that leads.
Okay.
Sounds
You continue to hear rippling, sort of, what do you call those? Seismic moments through the stone as things happen up top, and you begin to hear, as you are listening through to the sound. Does anybody here have a particularly high passive insight? Is anybody here rocking like a super high insight?
18.
18. Hilver,
Damn.
the sounds of the battle have been going back and forth, and the desperation meter is starting to turn up. Things are not going well outside. As you all continue to spiral downwards.
I guess I'll leave another light stone at the start of this area too.
Oh, smart. You
So we
leave
can
another stone with
breadcrumbs.
the light spell cast on it. And I will say with some high passive perception, sometime around now, it's been maybe a few minutes of you traveling, you begin to hear, all right, sort of echoing down the tunnel. You hear a gnomish voice echoing through into the part that you are. He is a good bit behind you, so it is best to keep going, but you get the sense that your companion, who rolled a 13, which was enough with his bonus, did manage to make it through without being noticed too easily. As you continue, the tunnel gets more even in its carved smoothness. You get the sense of the way that these things have disturbed the space. The angle, however, starts to get really very steep. After a little while, you are kind of having to, you are less walking and more falling as slow as you can manage, as you are reaching out and kind of bracing yourself against the stone, sliding downwards slowly. Harold, you are almost certainly having the hardest time with this, being in heavy armor. There is more weight trying to drag you down as you continue as well, and you are in the back of the group, and you guys don't really even have the space anymore to change positions. As Harold, you are just trying not to Indiana Jones boulder the rest of the team down further. I need a group athletics check to make your way through this winding system of tunnels.
Good. Alright. And can I because of monk, can I substitute acrobatics for that? Or no?
I believe so. If that is a specific
Yeah.
ability in 2024 Player's Handbook Monks, then yeah, go ahead and do it. You don't even need to ask.
Oh, true. Yeah, because they do have to.
I used to
specifically
let players
list
do that
on check.
anyways. That's why Spencer said yeah immediately.
I got
no, it's just grapple or shove option.
For the record, the line always used to be, just do monk stuff, man. I don't care. Yeah, Stefan, I'm going to keep that roll going, man. Just do monk stuff. Yeah, you can roll a dexterity
Alright.
check instead of a strength check. Otherwise, why would anybody play a monk? It just doesn't make sense. All right,
All right.
so
Dirty 20 for me.
20 from Lemon.
Woo!
Harold,
14.
14.
All right.
Bartholomew.
16.
Wow, Bartholomew's looking kind of yoked right now. Beige.
I don't know.
9 from Beige. And Hilver.
Dirty 20 here.
Dirty 20. Okay, I have very good news. It is not the best possible result. That is 3 successes and 2 failures. But it could certainly have been worse. You guys still have more victories than losses. You just did not have the sort of perfect wipe that you are hoping for. As you all manage to continue to make your way down, You keep your pace very well. Hilver, you manage to slide to what you think is the bottom. You turn and like whisper something to let everybody else know. Lemon and Bartholomew are next, and the two of them can hear you very easily. Beige can't, turns, looks to Harold and goes, "What did he say?" And Harold leans in to listen and loses his grip, and Harold and Beige swing down, and you all pile out of this hole in the wall. Stumbling forward, you all quickly get up to your feet and look around, and you are in a room with a very low ceiling compared to what you were just in. These like where every room was 10, 12 feet tall. It is maybe 7 or 8 feet, so again, just a little bit too close to your head for comfort. And as you look out, it is a very wide, smooth room. There's almost tiles on the wall. They look like fired ceramic. They are really quite beautiful, making this pattern that whips around the outside. And you're looking forward into what, for all the world, looks kind of like a hot springs minus the bubbles. They're these like natural stone pools, almost perfectly circular, that swing out in front of you for the full size of this pretty large, domineering sized room. It is a pretty long arc that is maybe at its widest point 90 or 100 feet wide. So there are the better part of a dozen of these pools. The other thing that you notice, with just a moment to react to it, is you can see a doorway that is open leading outside, and you can see streaks and light changes as whatever that fight is going on outside is still going on. You can see that there are a few creatures still in this room filing their way towards the door. One that is not moving. Standing, if this room is like the big slice of a pie, you all have entered through the big round edge. At the point, you see standing is a gigantic metal, halfway between a construct and a suit of armor, that has eyes that are glowing in unimaginably bright blue, that is just standing there. No sort of glaive or polearm in its hands like the other one did. Instead, it has like fully articulate hands with like multiple joints, like it is meant to interact with things, that is standing there looking at the door. For a minute, you mistake its composure for just watching, until you notice that there is like a little bit of a noise, and you can tell that this construct is primed and just focused on the door. With that, more successes than failures, you all slide down, and this thing like starts to like lift its weight up onto its actual joints and move forward as if it is listening, but it does not immediately know that there is an intruder. What do you all do? We can roll initiative now if we want to go in order, but if you had something clever to do, you would have time to do it before anything else happened.
Bartholomew, noticing that as he's climbing out, immediately just looks for the closest and darkest corner to try to sneak his way around, get out of sight, line of sight.
Okay. So
just separate himself a little bit, maybe in case a fight breaks out for a sneak attack.
All right, so it sounds like we are going to roll a quick initiative then, because I didn't hear anybody yell, "I have dimension door!" Nobody said teleport. So I think we are going to lean this at least, maybe not into an encounter, but into a can we avoid this thing if we don't want to fight it. So everybody go ahead and roll initiative. And I know what Bartholomew does on his turn. He immediately bonus action hides in a dark corner. All right. Everybody just
That's where my
roll.
I did get a nat 20. That's where my nat 20s come in.
Yeah.
There we go. What's that total then?
28.
All right.
And a non-combat initiative currently.
Yeah.
You might not even swing.
Deeply funny. I love that. All right. Anybody else over 20? 20 to 15. Okay. What'd you get?
17.
17 for Bartholomew. 15 to 10.
Yeah, 14, baby, let's go.
Okay, Harold got a 14. 10 to 5.
I got a nat 1, so a 5 total.
Beige, what's your total?
I got an 8.
Okay.
Hilver does slip and fall.
Yeah, I think when Harold and Beej come down here, they like land on his foot and he's sort of pinned.
All right, and I will roll for our big nasty here. Okay. Where's my sheet? There it is. I have to find his dexterity. It's not good. Good for you guys. All right. You watch as this statue, absolutely covered in writing, in deep engraved glyphs with like a face carved in to where the head would be, this like grim, screaming face as if in agony that occupies it. Carvings around the rest of it, a little bit more practical and pragmatic looking, starts to lumber into the center of the room, covered in intricate markings. Lemon is up absolutely first. Lemon, you watch the rest of your party sort of reacting a little bit. Bartholomew ducks into the shadows, vanishing into the dark, not wanting to do anything else. How do you react to this circumstance? There are a few other things in the room still. I will say there are 3 figures that you would need to move a little closer to see very clearly that are leaving. And then there's this large creature, which doesn't seem like it's headed for the door. It seems like it is patrolling this room. What do you do?
I'll get just a little closer just to see where those... if I can see what those 3 figures are, awesome. But I'm more looking to see where they're going.
Okay, rolling over your stealth from earlier so that we don't have to sort of over-litigate too much of this. Go ahead and make a perception check as you get a little bit closer.
Cool. And the other thing, is the writing the same as, like, the writing that I charcoaled?
Same language, not the same
Okay.
words.
Alright. Perception... It's decent. That is a 13.
With a 13, you see not much, to be perfectly frank. This large creature occupying so much of your attention. I will say you narrow it down. At first you thought it was 3. You take a little bit of a closer look, and you can see that there are 4 creatures other than this pretty hulking thing. 2 of them seem to be smaller. One of them is about the same size as those things that you fought, the stalkers, and one of them is much larger. Not as big as the statue, but is standing taller than the rest. But that's all you can see. As you move closer in that direction, Lemon, you start to intersect with the path of this large construct, and you slow down so as to not trigger it, depending on how close you want to get. So that's your action, probably, to make that active check. Is there anything else you wanted to do on your turn?
No, I just give them the rest, the info.
Okay. Lemon makes his way back, and free action just says, I count, you count 4 other creatures, you give a rough breakdown in this larger thing. You want to catch your breath for a minute? Bartholomew, bonus action stealth, I assume.
Yep.
Okay.
He just crawls and just keeps himself out
Oh,
of sight.
I couldn't quite hear you.
He just crawls and keeps himself out of sight.
Nice. All right, so roll that stealth check so I know what the new total is. And then you will still have your action if you wanted to scout anything out, if you wanted to move deeper into the room,
Yeah.
if you wanted to do anything.
That's going to be a 27.
27. Awesome. You are Shadow. Bartholomew, you know that you are doing well. You move around the outside of the room and start to pivot. What do you want to do with your action, if anything?
He hears some of them moving around, so he tries to get at least as close as he can to see at least what some of these creatures are, get a feel out of the room. I would say like he's trying to at least be on the left side of the statue
Okay.
at this point, take it to the corners and the shadows. He does not have dark vision.
That's okay because there's light streaming in through the
There
open
is
door.
light. Okay.
And
I didn't know how much.
the pools are giving off just a little bit of light themselves. So go ahead and make that perception check.
Well, could I just, you know what? I feel like it'd be very important. I'm going to actually use inspiration for this. I'm going to ignore that.
Okay, we're gonna burn a point of inspiration
no.
and ignore that. I like it.
Yeah, that was a 7.
Woohoo.
14.
14.
That's better.
You get pretty much the same information that Lemon does. You get one thing that Lemon didn't because of the direction that you go. You are winding around the other side, and so as you get a little bit closer to the actual construct, you just get something that Lemon did not notice that you would have gotten on a DC 10 or, anything lower than that. Any decent check would have gotten it. As you get a little closer, you can hear a noise coming from that large carved, not carved, I should say cast. It looks to be made of iron construct. You hear almost like a choir singing, but very faint and kind of distorted. I unfortunately only have one touch point. Have you ever been right next to an electric car that's running, like, slow? They make this insane noise, like there's like 50 little gerbils singing in its engine. There's a noise like that, but to a very specific rhythm. It's not just like a sustained note. There's a melody to it as you listen and get closer to this creature. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw for me. The DC is very low, which is actually a bad sign if you've ever played D&D. It's like those little scorpions. They say to be scared of the little... If your DM is like, make a DC 9 saving throw and you're level 8, you're like, what? Why?
Oh.
What happens if I fail that? Squinting. What happens if I don't succeed on that?
Just don't.
11 succeeds.
Oh my god.
Your vision gets just a little fuzzy, and your mind gets just a little distant. As you almost feel like a memory coming up in the back of your mind, and you shake the feeling off and bring your focus back into space and move back into the darkness, having just felt some effect upon hearing this sound coming out of this large construct. Okay. That's your movement, that's your action. If you had a bonus action, and it was a bonus action to hide. So that is your first round in this. I'm going to put combat in big air quotes here. All right, Harold Vale, you are up. You have this like half-noticed information. You saw Bartholomew move off to the side, and what you would have seen, any of you that saw Bartholomew sneaking around this construct, was Bartholomew fully like teeter and then get his feet back under him and keep moving.
Harold is still by the like drop-off hole section. So what Harold is going to do is unclasp his cloak, his cape, and set that down because he's worried that the gnome is going to fall down in his full plate armor and go clang, clang, clang.
Hilarious.
So he's setting this down as like a sound dampener. So that's what Harold's getting up to.
Okay, so Harold's action is to pull off a cloak and lay it down to dampen some noise in a few moments if that gnome follows. If you wanted to do anything with your bonus action, cast a spell, anything like that, you could.
No, they would all be too loud. I won't let anything rip.
Yeah. There's a TikTok about that. Maybe we can talk about later. All right, Hilver, you're up. The situation is still strange. Your party doesn't seem to really know what to do. People are dealing with other things, trying to get a lay of the room. Nothing has sort of jumped off yet. What's up?
Or wait, Beige had an 8, right? And I was 5?
I did have an 8.
Okay. So.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I mixed up the nat ones when I wrote them down. All right.
Oh, okay.
Go for Beej.
Beej is scared. Beej doesn't know if Beej made the right decision when Beej was thinking about Beej's action. Beej really wants to, like, use thaumaturgy to send some sort of sound out the door.
Okay.
And then run. Or at least look around really quick and then run.
Okay.
Because it seems like there's nothing else here, and whatever it is, I feel like Beej is like, probably not worth it. If it is, we'll come back and we'll know what is here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Beej is gonna do that, maybe like some sort of bang, like as far outside the door as he can.
Okay. In that case, I think we are gonna make an influence check here, to use new advanced 5e parlance. So influence is one of the new actions that you can take, and I will say you are doing it with the assistance of a spell, so I will give you advantage. You are going to attempt to persuade/deceive a big construct made of metal. You will have advantage because you're using a spell to do so. You can choose which of those two scores seems the most relevant to you. I would allow persuasion because the noise is real, or deception because you are sort of tricking the construct into running ahead.
Okay, well, my deception is a +9, so let's do that, chat.
Huge. Chat, I'm deceiving.
Check
Chat,
with that.
go for deceive. That's a 19.
With a 19, you watch this thing, its eyes were just starting to move around. It had just looked directly over where you know Bartholomew is hiding, but Bartholomew is crouched like fully down in the shadows between two pools and really cannot easily be seen right now, as its eyes are just heading over towards where Michael's character Lemon flattened themselves up against the wall. You throw this spell outside of the door and make a noise, like the noise of a loud slam, like somebody hitting the wall and like sliding down into the ground. And this thing immediately whips around. Its arm shoots out, and it is immediately holding what looks to be a blue whip made out of just energy and light in that free hand, and it starts to swing and take these giant heavy steps out the door as it sprints for the door. That's what it will do on its turn. You all watch this thing prime itself to run, and you know that Beej's act has worked. Hilver, you're up.
All right. I think so when like they went tumbling down, I might have moved my foot to try to help stop you guys from like tumbling further, and then you kind of like got up and were standing on there. So he finally like the pressure being relieved from his foot. He's like, doesn't sting anymore. That's good. And sort of just flexes it a little bit and walks over, and it will like kind of crouch and
Respect.
sort of take a look and peer at one of these pools and see kind of like maybe like what their former function is.
Great. As you walk up over the edge of one of the pools, go ahead and roll me a d12.
A D12. All right, that's an 11.
An 11. You look over into one of these pools, and as you look down into the waters, which are perfectly still, you are looking into a room that you do not easily recognize. Make a history check.
All right.
Where there should be the reflection of you in the ceiling above your head. Instead, you are looking somewhere else.
That's a 12.
You don't recognize the space, but you see an incredibly large marble room, like a rotunda with columns carved, and you see the faint cast of like amber-colored light, like through stained glass. You see long rows of seats, that go pretty far in all directions, pointed up towards a central dais where you see a single figure in long robes is like extending their hands and speaking, although the sound is very muffled through this pool.
Okay. Do they look like one of like the Deathwoken people from like the painting we looked at, or do they look completely different?
That I'll give you. Absolutely not. They do not.
Oh. All right. I guess that'll be it for my turn.
Okay, that's your action.
And did we finish a long rest in that room, or did the skeleton fully interrupt that?
5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes was it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no time at all.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you all watch Hilver walk up to this pool and kind of like stiffen up a little bit as their head tilts to the side as they clearly notice something. That is Hilver's turn. At that, it is, I guess it's important that you know what to call these creatures. It is the Bastille's turn. You watch the Bastille sprint out of the door much faster than you were hoping it could move. Much faster than you were hoping something that big could move. It takes like 8 big strides and fully slides out of the door. You watch as in its path one of the smaller figures, which you can now see is on all fours, gets in the way. It smashes into it and sends it like tumbling out of the way as it swings out and starts to look around. It is now on the other side of the door, standing head and shoulders above the other figures that you can see, who are all kind of enshrouded by the light coming from the other side. You watch it look up into the rest of the space, clearly seeing what is going on and taking stock of the situation. It is going to roll a perception check on its turn. Roll very poorly, which is very good for you all. It looks around and clearly is inspecting the exterior of the door, and that is the end of its turn. We are back up at the top of initiative. Lemon. Everything is calmed down. The creatures are filing out. That large creature's movement made it so that everybody else is about to go. I'll be frank, you're in kind of a funny situation. They all move on initiative count 20, and you rolled a 28, and they haven't moved yet. What do you do?
Yep. I'm gonna kind of hold action for right now.
Okay, so you just hold your... So Lemon just waits. And at initiative count 20, perhaps just when you hoped, they file out of the room. That last 4 make their way out, and the door slams behind them, although nobody's hand grabs it. Some magical effect, some minor trick. The door shuts, and you are all left, probably briefly, alone in this room. We are going to exit combat just for a little while here. I will keep our initiative down on paper, and I am going to roll to see how many rounds you have. Okay. I know the answer. So everybody catches a breath. Lemon, you stand up. What do you do?
Yeah, how warped are these tiles? Are they heavily treaded?
This room does not look like it has seen the same amount of activity as the others.
Even by this group of 4?
Yeah.
I try to see if there's an exact pattern these people take.
Oh, survival check.
Like their patrol?
Yeah, pop off with a survival check really quick. You all watch as that door shuts. Lemon shoots up and quickly starts to back up and look around at the floor.
I got 2. I'm gonna use my inspiration.
Okay. Point of inspiration used by Lemon. I like that. Harold, you look down and realize there is still a glowing blue torch on your belt, and it's a really good thing that thing got distracted on its own turn, because you do still have that magical blue torch.
Way better from a 2 to a 17.
2 to a 17. You quickly see that there is a little bit of a traffic pattern in this room where the stone has been worn away a little bit by frequent use. It doesn't suggest a large number of creatures, let alone that giant iron construct. It would suggest pretty normal people moving in and out of this room. And you haven't seen anybody that would leave a normal person's footprints and sign. So you get the sense that these are either very old, or somewhere in here there are normal people, and you don't know which.
All right. Is there anywhere that there's more than other?
Absolutely. You see that there is a large central pool that is about 3 times the size of the others, and you can see that situated around its edge, there is a sort of finer set of carvings, highlighted by a few precious stones, seemingly a couple of garnets or rubies, and a few sapphires or some other blue stone, that outline its large shape. And to be clear, each of these gemstones is that big, like a baseball.
Goodness.
I had that way.
And you all watch Lemon start to approach this larger central pool. Lemon, there's a little bit of an almost angled step, so you can get closer over it than you could to the others. Who else is doing what else? We are kind of looser in the initiative here for at least the next little bit. We are still kind of in round 1. Does anybody else have anything they want to do?
Is there any other doors as well? At least Bartholomew's kind of just want to check. Any other exits from outside that main door?
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check as you all watch Bartholomew stand up and start to run around, touching the walls, looking for other doors, other passageways out, other tunnels.
That's 11.
Within 11, you don't find anything. Bartholomew, you see 1 door in and out, and you see 1 tunnel that goes up and down. You don't know if... I'll say within 11, you're nothing obvious is in this room, but that doesn't mean there isn't anything. You just don't know. That's also not me saying there's definitely a secret door. You're just going to have to play to find out a little bit.
And then bonus action, he's just going to the other side of the corner and just continuing to hide, just in case they come.
We can maintain you're very good 27. I don't want you to have to give that up for no reason. Harold, what are you up to as this situation shifts?
Harold looks to see who's still here with him, who hasn't gone to hide already. And he says, if there's anybody stealthy, it'd be nice if you could go through the main door and sneak by him to see if you can find an egress point. I'm going to stand by the door and hold it shut, and if you knock on it 3 times, I'll open it up for you and come back and tell us the plan.
I love Harold being like, I'm probably stronger than that big construct. That's probably...
Maybe I'll get 1 round. You never know.
It's true.
So, if
think
somebody's
that we'll-
sneaky enough,
All right, I'll try and sneak and keep an eye out there and look around. But will the door maybe just open on its own when we get close to it? It didn't seem like they closed it themselves.
Hilver moves up towards the door. As you are preparing to sort of sneak and scout your way out, I will ask Beej, is there anything that you wanted to do?
As they start to do this, can I prepare to do another sort of sound or something as I get closer to the door?
Yeah.
Like further away, just in case something happens.
Totally. So you just sort of mentally, you saw a little bit of the pathway before. You just start to, in your head, prepare to cast this spell. Essentially preparing an action that can go off the millisecond that you can see further down the path to send a second noise. You get closer, you know you're at a better angle, and you're just sort of lined up and ready, so that when Hilver goes to sneak, you can distract it again, even further. It's very, very good little tactical maneuver there. I like it. All right. With that, it is the end of the round. And Hilver, you reach up, and the handle of the door turns, and you slide it open like a little baby inch. It thankfully opens in, and you are looking at the back of this massive construct made of iron that is looking out over the space in front of you. You look off to your left and right very quickly, and thankfully you don't see those others. As you look up, you see a grim display of violence up above. You see the construct is like swarmed by these things that at first you think they're the same as the stalkers, but their legs are bent around the other way wrong. Like they're able to move in different directions more quickly than a normal person would be able to, but it's still definitely humanoid limbs. They've just been like twisted and moved around to be in more convenient places. Like the shoulders have been shifted, and they are like scurrying along the outside of it as it is like picking them up and pulling them off. It cannot do so fast enough. You see one of these wizards springing up over the side. You watch as the construct in front of you moves, and you watch that blue tether whip up into the air and wrap around his neck. And that caster starts to like grab at it, and his hands are just passing through it. He can't actually touch whatever it is made of. At that exact same time, Beej sends a noise further down the way, and that construct, we'll keep your roll from before to keep things moving. His head snaps, and he begins to walk, and you watch as that sorcerer, wizard, whatever it is dragged like a balloon just along with him as he moves down the way, and slowly is like being cinched in closer 5 feet at a time. What do you do?
All right. I think since it's like, I probably will have to like want to step in and fight this thing, considering it's like got someone actively in its death clutches. Then, so
So-
I turn and I give a look
I'm
at
gonna
Harold.
turn to Harold and I'll be like, can we go now, please?
Yeah, so I look to Harold. I like motion at the wizard in the strangled grasp. I clench my fist, pointing at that thing. I'm just like, nod my head.
do we know about the wizards of Rumgastelon? How chill are they? I feel like we got that information before, and I didn't write it down.
You got very little. Go ahead and make a history check really quick. See what Harold knows. And if it turns out we're wrong, we're wrong. We can retcon it later.
I got a 14.
With a 14, Harold, the mages of Rumgastelon are kind of weird. It is the most an academy that any group of mages is. Like, it is the most actually dedicated to teaching and learning and collecting knowledge. It isn't as much like a powerful military entity. Now, that being said, they do have a reputation for deciding that things are the property of Rumgastelon a little bit, and so they have a long history of getting into scuffles with the Lophilam Empire and the Pylordian technocracy, and even within the Federation of Elders, because often if they need something, they will just kind of go take it. They usually send a letter first asking. The thing is, that's just never where that chain ends. If you say no to the letter, there will be somebody there a week later. And if you say no to the somebody there might be a couple of people. and then some political pressure, and then eventually the item just disappears.
Doesn't sound deserving of death to me, personally. So I with a dejected look, Harold goes,
All right.
Beach.
and pulls out his sword, too.
As Beej is like looking around, shaking their head no.
Y'all, are you guys seeing the same thing I am?
Harold points at the thing and at Hilver, and he gestures to grab and pull back into the room. That's sort of what he's getting at.
So Harold
The
points.
Colossus.
Harold points to a 15-foot tall iron statue and goes, and then just sits there with a look that says, "You got this."
Harold's gonna jump in too. You just gotta kick things off.
Spencer, I'm just gonna say something real quick. If you kill my character,
Worst case,
I will leave your character to die and shut the door.
jump
And
into the
leave.
pool. Worst case, you go into the pool with the weird people doing church stuff. It's fine.
Making some wild assumptions about the magic of the room that you're in.
Yeah.
Harold's like, I bet
Worst
I know
case.
what this thing is. All right. All right. So we are, for the record, we are almost certainly about to end the episode because I can't kick off a very long combat at the end of an episode. But okay. So we have a brief moment. I think it's got to come down to Hilver. Bartholomew, maintain your stealth. Make sure you write down what your stealth total was so that we know how hidden you are exactly. Everybody else, start to take a moment. Think about what you want to do at the very beginning of what is sure to be a totally normal and not bad combat. As Hilver gets ready to suplex a 15-foot tall iron construct.
Levin's looking the complete opposite direction. He's looking at the table. He doesn't
Look at
know
these
what's going on
jewels.
right now.
So Lemon's okay. So voluntarily, so what Lemon does is goes, huh, and is looking over the edge of this portal, seeing the stones on the outside, pondering. Behind you, you hear noise, but who knows what it is? Bartholomew, you have hidden, and no
They
doubt
won't start fire
will
right
take
now.
good advantage of that in the first round of combat. Harold, you've prepared your action to swing when he comes around the corner. Beej, is there anything you would like to do in anticipation? And I will ask everybody, take this down as a note, because we are probably going to resolve this turn next week.
Oh no.
It's perfectly, as Lemon has decided to make a character action, it's perfectly fine for Beej's action to be shaking their head furiously while looking at their companions as if to say, what are you, insane?
Y'all. I don't like this, actually, which is what's funny about that. I don't even know where to start, you guys. I don't even know.
It's like
you. I can't even help you. I can't. Even Beach. I don't even know what Beach would do.
does this Colossus resemble in any way like the people that Beach owes money to? It's like what similar to them, like being like, this thing owes me money, and it's like grabbing him and pulling him away, similar kind of brutality.
So Beej's turn, it sounds like, is spent just slowly, just hands up, shaking their head as if to say, are you kidding me? As Hilver, what do you do as you have this moment of like, all right.
I guess using the uncanny metabolism skill, which just happens, well, technically when you roll initiative, but we didn't really, I guess since this is entering combat of the initiative, can I use it now?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, because that at least gives me my key points and then heals me a bit.
Beach just like points to the bags under his eyes and is like, "You guys,
And
You're why.
I guess I will.
I'm tired. You guys, I don't have any. I'm exhausted."
And I think I'm just sort of like swinging out there, and I'm just going to try and hit this thing in a kneecap.
All right. Now I do have an important question because it changes what I need to make sure I know on my end. Are you going to try to grapple this robot?
I'm going to try and give it a shove with one of the attacks, maybe.
Okay.
Harold
Hilver,
is going to try and grapple. I wanted to clarify that. He's not going to swing the sword. He's going to grab onto this thing.
Hilver, you
So-
dive under its feet, reach up to the other side, and slam your body weight and go for a shove attack. Shove attacks, that's competing athletics, right?
Yeah, but that's one of the things that I can use my dexterity for instead of strength.
Absolutely. Okay.
So it's target must succeed on a strength dexterity saving throw, or you can either push it 5 feet away or cause it to have the prone condition.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right, I'm gonna roll my strength save. You said a saving throw?
Yeah, 15.
17.
All right, so it saves it.
You
Oh,
go
don't act shocked.
into
Don't
its
act
leg
shocked.
and look up. What do you do with your second attack?
Second attack is going to be, I think, just a regular unarmed strike attack
Right.
to try and like
Does anybody want to guess what I rolled on the die to get a 17?
a
Like
2.
a 5.
It's not that bad. I rolled an 8.
Oh. Well, and for this one, I think my hand's still throbbing from the attempt at the failed shove, and I rolled a nat 1 plus 8 for a 9.
Harold, you watch Hilver slide up between its legs, slam, clang, and then look at you with a look of, no, brother.
And bonus action, one more unarmed strike.
Go ahead, take your surprise action. Listen, you earned it.
Yeah. That's 26 to hit.
That hits.
Yeah!
There you go.
All right.
Can you imagine if I was like, no? I was like,
Then I would try jumping in the pool.
Yes, I can imagine.
Fuck the wizard. We're done.
I love that because if you are right, that's Spencer going, I have decided that we are doing a different adventure. And then I have to come up with an adventure in some other corner of the world.
For all I know, it could be in this dungeon. I have no idea what this is showing.
All right. So that's 8 points of force damage as I hit it.
I mean, he's practically on death's door.
And I will stunning strike that one. So it's got to do a 16 con save.
Yeah, man, is the stunned condition? He's immune to the stunned condition, Stefan.
Okay. All
giant,
right. I
the
like
giant robot doesn't have nerves.
He's
it is
anti-monk.
empty.
You all
Yeah.
watch Hilver like, and then finally gets a good punch. You watch like a metal plate dent, and then he reaches up and like palm strikes, and then just grabs his wrist a little bit.
All
And with
right.
that,
And
okay, go ahead. What is it?
I guess with the rest of my movement, I move sort of like, so I'm like at like a 45-degree angle, like between it and the door.
So you interpose yourself between it and the door?
Yeah, but slightly off to the side a little bit, so it's like beckoning it towards me and the door.
Okay.
But
You back off
giving,
towards
like,
the
a
door.
view
Its
into the door
eyes
for
go
everyone
wide
else.
as it sees you moving towards the door, and you sense that you trigger some very important directive in its mind as its attention falls off of the rest of what is going on and locks exclusively onto you. This Mage of Remgastelon, as you are looking up now, you see a dragonborn, bright silver scales, clutching at a rope he cannot touch, and is going, mouthing the word help, but apparently not able to produce any sound at all as this construct lurches forward. We're gonna pick up there next week because we'd be here until midnight. Thank you all
oh no.
so much for watching another episode of the Party Makes Things Worse Song of the Reliquary. We went from kind of a tepid journey testing the floorboards into a full-fledged sprint through that last situation. You took a very fun path. I'm excited. You were in a room that I wasn't sure you'd ever get to, and that's always pretty fun. Hopefully everybody lives. If not, I guess pick a Mage of Remgastelon that you want to be, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching. You can catch 3 shows on Foolhardy Press on YouTube and Twitch. You can catch Game Masters, Masters of Games, which we stream on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. until about 9:30, sometimes 10. On Mondays, that's where we play video games, me, Michael, and Spencer, that we either feel that we have already mastered or that we need to master. On Mondays, you can catch The Party Makes Things Worse, where we do actual plays through various systems. We did Monster of the Week a little while ago, which was very fun in Spencer's game. Now we're doing Dungeons & Dragons. We're playing through Song of the Reliquary. Who knows what comes next? And then, of course, that is 7:30 to usually 10:30. We had to end a little bit earlier today. On Tuesdays, you can catch DM Writer's Room, where Spencer, Michael, and I demystify the DMing process by coming up with adventures, magic items, systems, one-page RPGs, and all kinds of fun stuff live. You just missed the episode where we came up with a new lingering injuries table for this game that I think we're probably going to end up using next session a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. Who knows? It might not happen. There's really no way to know. Check us out on YouTube, and I guess tentatively you can check us out on TikTok for a few more days. That seems to now be kind of an oddball issue. You can check us out on DriveThruRPG, where our first adventure, The Lich's Dollhouse, is, and on itch.io, where our first one-page RPG, The Last Thanksgiving, is. That's a turkey-tinged tale of vengeance that I'm a big fan of, and we have some exciting things planned in the not-too-distant future, including getting that lingering injuries table, including a less mean version of it that I am currently crunching the numbers on to make some D100 ranges to be available right around the corner. So hopefully that will be, well, I mean, in your wish list soon. I was about to say wish list. Put it in your cart. Come on. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. I hope everybody survives.
Bye.